Come on, get in here. Get in here. It's 8 o'clock. Strengthen Your Soul is on. Get in here. Come on, Strengthen Your Soul's on. It's 8. The Facebook delay hits again, so who knows what I was saying when we started. But get in here. Come on. We need you. We got work to do. Come on, get in. Grab a drink. We're going to take a drink together. We're going to cheers together in about a minute and a half. Get in here. Come on, pile in. Let's go. We got to work on our souls tonight. Tonight, I'm having water. Need a little extra hydration today. Now, what are you having tonight? Hope you got a drink. Somebody who watches this, though, they always say this. They always say, I didn't have anything to drink. And I'm telling you, that's okay. But it's at least 15% better when you join in on the cheers. You got about 30 seconds. Come on, get in. We got to talk about the most important thing you'll hear today. The most important thing that you'll hear today, and maybe ever. So we'll give about 30 more seconds and then we'll take together. Want to give you a quick update. On the bottom here of the whiteboard, you'll see that we are now on YouTube. So if you search Strengthen Your Soul or Kyle Harnett, my name, you should be able to find all these videos archived and saved. Just makes it easy for some of you. You want to batch watch them or you want to redo some of the exercises. Fantastic. Again, the goal of Strengthen Your Soul is to give you a strong soul that can deeply connect with God. Some of you might say the universe or life. But to deeply connect with God and to experience His love. So, with that being said, let's take a drink. Cheers. Thanks for joining. And let's talk about your soul. I want to give you a quick update, though, and then ask for your help, actually. So this morning, I actually received a message from somebody who's been watching these videos, and an old friend of mine, and they reached out and just said, I really need to connect with God. And actually, some of what you've been talking about has absolutely changed my life. And so for those of you who have liked or commented or shared, I just want to say thanks, because you've actually helped people experience real life change. And so I want to just ask you to keep helping by liking, commenting, or sharing, or checking us out on YouTube. But it really is helping change people's lives. The second thing is this. Something seems to be going on my end in Facebook. And at lunchtime, at noon, I run videos called Mindset Mastery. And I'm actually working on a project to start to try to help people actually find jobs, and more than that, create jobs for themselves as we're heading out of, hopefully in the near future, what might be the greatest recession that any of us have ever seen. And today, for whatever reason, my audience was cut to about 20% of what it normally is. And I actually went on my phone to look up why that might be. And actually, I couldn't find any of my videos at all on mobile. And so my assumption is for some people, my videos aren't showing up at all. So if you'd watch that video, if you hated the video, the one I posted today, that's totally okay. Don't do anything. But if it was mediocre or better, I'd ask you to like it or comment on it, simply so that it is the first step in a path towards helping people get new employment. And tomorrow I'm going to be talking about that. So if you would help me with that, I'd be tremendously grateful. But let's talk about your soul. My wife absolutely loves puzzles. Any of you puzzle people out there? Like, she does puzzles all the time. It's sort of her like Zen garden moment, or her way of relaxing and unwinding. And so what she'll often do, she'll come home and she'll just throw in some music and she will just work on a puzzle. And I've never done this, but I've thought about it before. If I'm feeling especially mischievous, I wonder what might happen if I took one piece of the puzzle right from the middle out and hit it. Well, I'd tell you exactly what happened. My wife, she would go through the whole puzzle, and then at the very end, she would still feel unsatisfied. She'd feel like there's a gap for her in her puzzle. The same is true. This principle holds true for the soul. And one of the things that happens in life is some of us, we are missing pieces of the puzzle. And so we're going to look at 5 gaps that can show up in people's lives. And these happen developmentally. So tonight we're talking about what if you have the deprivation of love? And here I'm borrowing and expanding upon some thinking of a friend of mine, Dr. Sanders. He's the dean of the program that I'm currently enrolled in. And so one of the deprivations that lots of people have in their soul is this. It's they don't feel loved nor lovable. Now, some of you, this shows up for, I'll give you 4 reasons why you might have a love deprivation in your life. And what it looks like is just, again, you can be successful, you can feel significant, you can feel like you can accomplish stuff, you can feel like you have made it in life and still go, I don't feel loved. And so I want to give you a few reasons why this might be. One is this, and I've dealt with many people who have walked through this. If you have been abused, particularly as a child, it is quite likely that you have a love deprivation in your life. It's going to be really hard, and tonight we're going to see if God will fill that for you. I think He will. I actually am sure He will. And I think He'll do that because Jesus actually loves us. And again, if you're here and you don't believe in Jesus, that's okay. The test of tonight is to go see if He might help you. And if He does, maybe He's worth following. Number 2 is this: if you've been betrayed. So people who have experienced, or if you've been the betrayer as well, but if you have been betrayed, particularly by a spouse or a very near and dear friend, it is very common to feel a love deprivation. Very common. Number 3 is a loss of a parent or parents. Also, if you have been adopted, you might have phenomenal parents, but it's very common. It's not 100%, but very common if you have been adopted or orphaned in particular, or if you've lost a parent early on, to have a love deprivation. The 4th one is this, is favoritism. If there was favoritism in your family, it's going to be hard for you to feel loved. Now, some of you might be saying, what if none of these are me? What if I don't have a love deprivation? That's okay. Actually, it's a great thing. Here's what you need to know. Tonight, we're still going to talk about how do you receive love from God. But if you don't have this, here's what I'm telling you. You know people, you love people, you care about people who have this deprivation. And so to understand how to help them is so important, unbelievably important. So, if you're one of those 4, you may have it. You may just also have it just because you feel that way. You might not have a special reason. So, I want to remind you of a couple of things and then talk to you about how do you receive God's love, and then we're going to try it. We're going to try to receive the love of God, especially the love of God that can come through Jesus. So, a couple of things I need to talk to you about. One is this. One of the claims of Jesus is this, that you and me, you were designed. That absolutely there is biological processes that happen. It seems almost like chance, but here's the claim of Jesus. It wasn't just chance. Your life is not an accident. You were designed, and before you had done anything, you were loved in that designing. That actually your life was willed. That's the claim of Jesus about what God has done for you. That when you were thought up, you were loved. So at the very core of your identity is love. This one is why it's so important. Number 2, Jesus says this: if you are alive even in this moment, that is a gift from God. It is His kindness to you. It is His love for you. That's not to say He doesn't have love for people who've passed on, but it is a sign of His love. And number 3, the claim of Jesus is this, is that your life has remarkable purpose. Like remarkable purpose. And the Father of your soul, God, what you might call the universe, He has a purpose for your life, and He has doors open and waiting for you to walk through. So, how do you receive the love of God? That's a great question. I will write this down. I'm going to erase this. And I'm going to give you a few steps, really, really simple steps. The first one is this: you must accept that God is actually loving. This one's really hard. Some of you might be saying, are you trying to make me religious? I need to say something right now. I never want any one of you who ever watches my videos to ever become religious. Jesus only ever spoke of religion pejoratively and negatively. I never want you to be religious. But I want you to deeply relate to God, especially through Jesus, 100%. I'm not sorry about that. I don't want you to be religious. I couldn't less want you to be religious. I couldn't despise religion more. So, you must accept that God is loving. So, I want to point to something really quick. At the center of the life of Jesus is this idea that He sacrifices Himself. And that the Father, God the Father, sacrifices His Son. This is super important, and actually it's a comment made by Jordan Peterson. Some people love him, some people hate him. Some people don't know if he's inside of faith or outside of faith. I'm not here to comment on that, but he made an insightful observation. There are two types of sacrifices that demonstrate love more than anything. One is this: the sacrifice of yourself. If you lay down your life for another, it is the ultimate sign of love. It's the ultimate sign of love. Number two is actually perhaps the only thing that would be greater of self-sacrificial love is this: the sacrifice of one's child. So I have 3 boys, and I wouldn't give my kids for anyone. I would give my life for my kids. My kids would actually be a greater sacrifice. Here's why that's important. It tells you this: that God is more loving, more kind, more forgiving, and more cares more deeply about you than you or I could possibly imagine. So we got to accept that God's love. Number 2, we just need to be open to it. So a simple prayer: God, I want to receive your love. Number 3 is simply this: we need to receive, which is to sit in a, wow, that was terrible. Receive, that's the word. In a posture of openness, going, God, I'll take what you have. Please pour your love into my heart. Give me your strength. Give me your passion. These are all parts of ways of describing the love of God. Give me all your goodness. If love feels too emotional, His goodness is another way of talking about His love. One other thing too is you have to know this. When you receive God's love, you need to go, I also receive your love for the broken parts of me. The parts of me that even I don't like. The parts of me that I don't want others to know about. God, could you love those parts of me too? Would you be kind to me even in spite of those? I'll tell you, when you experience the love of God, you don't have to be a religious person. You just have to be a receptive person. When you experience that, your soul will never feel more strong, and you'll never be able to love the people that matter most to you as well as you can when you've received the love of God. So, you accept by going, I accept that you actually do love me, God. You made me. You actually sacrifice of yourself and of your Son for me. I just accept that. I'm going to accept it. Even if I don't know if I fully believe it, I'll put this much trust in. Number 2, I'm going to open myself up. Not going to be religious, but to go, I want to relate to you. And then you're going to go, God, would you love me? Even the dark parts. Are you ready? Let's try, and then we'll wrap up for the night. So, especially, you know how I'm going to just instruct you. You can close your eyes. Sometimes it helps people just ignore everything else and concentrate on relating to God. So you can close your eyes. And out loud, you might say this. You might have to do it in your head and your heart if you're not private, but out loud, you might say this: God, I accept that you love me. For some of you, that's going to be so difficult. But you need to say that. You need to start with it. Go, God, I accept that you love me. And then you're going to say, I open myself to your love tonight. If you want to turbocharge it, say, Jesus, I accept your love tonight. Again, some of you, you're not comfortable with that yet. That's okay. But I do say this is the most effective. I've never seen anything like Jesus to help people experience God's love. There's nothing like him. And then the third part, go, I'm open to your love. The third part is this. God, I want to receive. And so I wait here for your love. And you just sit there. You don't have to work up anything. You don't have to do anything special. You just go, God, I receive your love, even for the broken parts of me. Would you deal with my dark side too? And as you're just sitting there, resting in his love, allow this truth to move from your head to your heart. You are dearly loved by God. It was clear in the life of Jesus. And now may the dear love of your Father in heaven, the Father of your soul, may it fill you. May it fill you in the entirety of your being, so that everywhere you go, people will say, that woman or that man knows how to love. So God, would you just fill the gaps in our soul with your love tonight? Amen. All right, everybody. If you have any comments, likes, shares that you want, anything in the future you'd like to talk about, please make a comment or shoot me a message. As always, available. I hope your soul's getting stronger. Hope your connection to God is becoming more realized and that you're feeling more free than ever. Have a great night. We'll talk to you soon.